Welcome, Rotarians and guests, to the Rotary Club of York, where our mission is to improve life in the city of York by connecting our club's diverse community leaders through fellowship, action, and service. I am your president, Courtney Piccolo, and as you know, we start off all of our meetings by reciting the four-way test. If you would please join me. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Rotarians use the four-way test to guide our actions and words. The Rotary Club of York is committed to celebrating the diversity and uniqueness of all people, treating everyone with courtesy, dignity, and respect, and we expect the same from everyone that we encounter. Embracing diversity and promoting equity is essential for the betterment of our club, our community, and the world. Today, our opening song, the Star Spangled Banner, and the pledge will be led by District Governor nominee designate Aaron Jacobs. It never gets easier. Followed by the invocation with past District Governor Dick Brown and visitor introductions by Sean Kenny.
Thank you, President Courtney. Point of privilege for just a couple of seconds. I was up here last time for the anthem, and I gave us some anthem etiquette where we place our right hand over our heart when we sing the national anthem. But there's also a pledge etiquette I want to remind you of. Those of you who've been a member of this club a long time will know that we say the pledge a little bit differently than most other places. That when we get to the part where it says one nation under God, we say one nation under God. And the reason for that is, those of us who remember 15 years ago, then Congressman Bill Goodling came to this club and got on the podium and said, "I'm so glad to hear you say the pledge, but you're saying it wrong." True story. He said, "There is no space between one nation and under God. There is no comma, therefore there is no space. And when we put a space there, we divide God from the nation. So when we say the pledge, it's one nation under God. No, it's one nation under God." So let's give this a try. Right hand over our heart, face the flag. Rotarians, please join me. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, I hate to continue the preaching or the teaching, particularly to our governor-to-be, but does anybody remember that particular meeting he was talking about when Bill taught us? Does anybody remember what the correction should be? Okay. He told us two things we should do. Two. He said, I pledge allegiance to the flag. Well, we say, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Bill said, we should say, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Does anybody remember that? Oh my God, there are a few that are as anal as I am. Well, yeah, but you have to set the right example now, okay? But it's going to take some teaching and some repetition. Okay. Sorry, Aaron. Not really. I love it. All right. If you would join me in prayer. As Rotarians, may all our actions lead us to have peace of mind so that we may spread peace and comfort in the world. May our own friendliness help spread happiness to all we meet. May our health be such that we can help others less blessed. May our business life flourish so that we may spread its benefits to those less fortunate. May we each hear and celebrate the consistent good works of our speaker and his network mission partners. And may some of us here gathered be moved to participate in ways that will help magnify such efforts. Amen.
Okay, well, hopefully there's not two ways that are almost identical to introduce guests, but we're going to find out. I'm pleased to have the honor of introducing guests for today's meeting. When I call your name, please stand and remain standing until President Courtney has welcomed you. So first, we have visiting Rotarians from the Palmyra Club, District Governor nominee Rebecca Zalett. Welcome. And then today's guests, Ophelia Chambliss, guest of past President Ann Druck, Derek King, guest of Thomas Calderon, and Mamoru Ekebe. Hopefully I got that right. Oh, wasn't that nice? That look didn't tell me I got it right, but you said yes, so I'll take it. And he's a guest of Youth Exchange Committee, and thank you all for coming.
Welcome to our visitors. I hope you're enjoying a wonderful lunch, engaging fellowship with some outstanding community leaders, and a program that both informs and inspires you. We're truly grateful that you are here with us today, and we invite you to visit us again soon. Rotarians, let's welcome our guests. And now for some announcements. The SPD committee meets immediately following this meeting downstairs in the mixed grill and on Zoom. The RCY Board of Directors will meet on June 12th at 8 a.m. on Zoom. And that's it for our announcements. At this time, I invite Vice Chair of Membership Engagement, Bill Hunter, to the podium to share with you some exciting events that you can take part in. As Bill is making his way up, if you wouldn't mind pulling out your phone so you have your calendars handy so you can check your schedule for all of the exciting things that Bill is about to share with you.
Thank you, President Courtney. Make sure. There we go. So yes, I am not Chris Toff. I'm Bill Hunter, Vice Chair of Engagement. Thank you. Thank you, Aaron. So I'm going to start with a quote. Life in Rotary should be some rational mixture of business, civic activities, and good fellowship. That's from Paul Harris in 1911. Rotary means business. Believes Rotarians should honor the foundations of Rotary as an organization of for-profit and not-for-profit organizations supporting each other. And that's what Rotary Means Business is all about. Our club is going to have the opportunity to host the next Rotary Means Business event. It'll be the 76th event for our district, 7390. The Rotary Means Business event is a combination of a cocktail hour, some organized networking, and then some open networking. It's open to all Rotarians, their guests, so kind of eye up some of those guests to be future Rotarians. So, whoops, there it is. So our event is going to happen on July 30th. It'll be from 5 to 7 p.m. It's going to be at Market View Arts. Thank you to, let me get my notes here. Thank you to Lisa Barshiner for procuring our venue. There will be hors d'oeuvres that will be provided by Cooking with the Pros, Jen Heasley, also a fellow Rotarian. It is a free event. There will be beer, wine, and water and soda served as well. On your table, as President Courtney mentioned, there is a flyer with a QR code. Very easy to go ahead and register for this event. If you scan that with your phone, make sure you're not on the country club's Wi-Fi, but scan that code. It'll take you right to the event page. You can enter your information. It'll be your name, cell phone number, email address, and then about 3 lines about your business, your role and what you're doing. And then that'll be shared at the networking event. Once you get that set up, you can click if you're a Rotarian or a guest from what club you're coming from. And then once you do that, your RSVP, you'll immediately get an email confirmation from Melissa at the district office. So this will be our event to host, but it will be open to all of the clubs in our district. Another way to do that is also to download the Club Runner app. If you go to the App Store, it'll be a blue box with a CR in it. You can put in your credentials for Club Runner, and then you have Rotary on your phone in your pocket at all times. You can go to the events page, scroll down through July 30th, find the event, and click on that. And then there'll be a link there. Just hold down on that link, and it'll go through the same thing. Highly recommend Club Runner. If you need help and guidance, Sarah's fantastic at coaching you through that. Finally, our committee has been busy. We have quite a few events. Again, our keystone for the summer will be the Rotary Means Business. But June 17th, we have bowling at Suburban Bowl-A-Rama. The cost is $25 per person. We have a food bank volunteer event June 18th. That's on the other side of your page there, 9 a.m. And then the Rotary Means Business event. And then finally in August, we have the Crab Fest. Again, if you go into Club Runner, you can find all these events and you can click on them to register. So we're expecting for the Rotary Means Business about 75 people. So this is our event to shine and really support our club and the district. So Tom Caltagerone, bring your army of future Rotarians. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill. At this time, I would like to invite Eric Chase, Chair of our club's Youth Service Project Committee, to present to you a committee spotlight so that he can share awareness of what the Youth Service Project Committee does, as well as give details on how the committee ties into our club's mission statement and strategic plan. Eric, the floor is yours.
Thank you. And as long as we're learning about Flag Advocate, I know for several months or several weeks here, our American flag was on the wrong side. If you didn't know it, it was on this side, which is to the left of the speaker. And I'm very happy that it's to the right and now in the right place. So those that are following Flag Etiquette, this flag should be to the right of the speaker, not to the right of the audience. So another little tidbit about Flag Etiquette. But anyway, just the Boy Scout and for those of you who served in our country. Hello, as you said, my name is Eric Chase and I'm humbled and honored to serve as the chair of the Youth Service Project Committee. Along with our vice chair, Amanda Harden, our committee supports and conducts activities to cultivate York City youth, say that quick 3 times, York City youth enrichment and success. I want you to understand that youth enrichment is a series of activities that help young people develop new skills, new talents, and explore new interests. And the work of our committee directly ties into our club's strategic plan under our increased service impact and our 2026 service focus on youth success. We are a newly reinvented committee of the club, and we've been working for the past several months to determine what the Rotary Club of York's significant service impact can be to the youth of York City. We've collaborated with the Youth Leadership Committee to hold a youth summit and surveyed the past and current student of the month and other students in the York City schools to determine their desired needs and wishes for their fellow York students. Out of that conversation came some key findings from their perspectives. The biggest challenges faced by the youth were academic pressure and mental health issues, the need for career mentoring and preparedness for careers, local college preparedness and financial assistance for further education, and students expressed their interest in focusing on service projects in the area of mental health and well-being, environmental, I'm sure the PPE committee is happy to hear that, literacy with young students, and housing shortages and food insecurity. Our plan moving into the next year with the assistance of the club, both financially and with you, our fellow Rotarians, as our human capital, is to identify, develop, and execute a club-wide youth-focused service projects and our activities to the youth of York City. We desire to establish a York City-wide Interact Club that will work with this Rotary Club to serve the community, to collaborate with other Rotary youth serving committees and activities like youth leadership, youth literacy, the Little League group, youth exchange, and SPD. We want to create collaboration with existing organizations and youth leaders in York City to partner on existing youth-focused activities and projects, and to continue to conduct our youth community conversations to assess ongoing needs within York City. This is where you come in. Our committee cannot come up with all these ideas. Our committee cannot be the only think tank to identify this stuff. So if anything I said to you sparked a chord or sparked an interest in you, and you say, I think you should partner with X, let us know who X is. Because I believe that the future of our community lies not only in the hands of our youth, but in how we choose to serve and enrich their lives. And if you have an interest in making a meaningful impact to the lives of young people in York City, please consider joining the Youth Service Project Committee as we work together to put service above self for the youth of our York City. Amanda's and my contact information can be found in Club Runner, and I hope you'll join us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Eric. And now I invite past President Josh George and our new members to the podium to induct some new blood into our club. I'll have the new members stand right over here in front of everybody.
Thank you for the direction, Sam. It's good.
Good afternoon, Rotarians and guests. It's my pleasure, as always, to introduce some new members to our club. And as we get to the end of President Courtney's term here, I am sure she has not been counting down the number of meetings she has left. Okay, I was wrong about that. But we are going out on a high note with 3 new members in what will be her last month of new member inductions here before President Wilda gets to do the same thing next Rotary year. So today, We have three new members. We'll start with Jordan Kell, who is here on my left, your right. No, your left, no, whatever. You know where she is. She's the one right here. She's a graduate of York Country Day School and went on to Towson University, where she earned her bachelor's in business administration. She works with the YGS Group, where she serves as a senior account executive. Her community service includes volunteering with Community Aid, Harvest of Blessing, and also the Community Progress Council. Her hobbies include reading, cooking, drawing, and I love this one, building Legos, presumably with the kids, but Legos are cool no matter what. She is married to Gabe, and they are the parents of Kensley, who is 11, and Lily, who is 1, and she is proposed for membership by Dad, Jim Kell. Ladies and gentlemen, Jordan Kell. Next, we have Angela Merrick on the far side. Angela is a graduate of Fairport High School in New York, and she went on to Cornell University, where she earned her Bachelor of Science in Nutrition. She also went on to the Palmer College of Chiropractic, where she earned her Doctor of Chiropractic Medicine. She is the owner and CEO of Consciously Co-Creating, which is a multifaceted business. She'll be more than happy to talk to you about it a little bit after the meeting. Her volunteer and community service work includes a lot of philanthropic work in Kenya, both profit and nonprofit. She is a YCEA member and a YBCO member, and she is a past member of the Young Professionals Council at York Traditions Bank. Her hobbies include reading, hiking, flying, kickboxing, good one, and I love this one, this is my favorite, happy hour. Sounds perfect. Why do we have these meetings at noon anyway? She is married to Paul, and they are the parents of Justin, who is 20, Will, who is 19, and Carter, who is 17, and she is proposed for membership by Carrie Ebling. Ladies and gentlemen, Angela Merrick. And last but certainly not least, we have Melanie Weissman. Melanie is a graduate of Kennesaw Mountain High School in Georgia, went on to the University of Georgia, where she earned her Bachelor of Arts degree, and then went to the Nova Southeastern University, where she earned her law degree, her JD. She is a self-employed attorney at the law office of Melanie Weissman, and she spent a lot of her career in the York County District Attorney's Office, so she knows a little bit about criminal defense, which is her specialty now. Her hobbies include tennis, paddle tennis, and pickleball, all very similar racket sports. She is married to Chris. They are the parents of Kennedy, who is 5, Grant, who is 3, and she is proposed for membership by Sarah White. Ladies and gentlemen, Melanie Weissman.
To our new members, welcome to our Rotary Club. We are very excited to have you be here and be a part of our club's mission to improve life in the city of York. Rotarians, please help me welcome all of our new members one more time. And now I would like to invite Jane Conover to the podium to introduce our speaker for today.
Good afternoon. Today we will have the pleasure to meet a special person who epitomizes service above self through his kindness, his compassion, and his commitment to helping others. Dr. Ed Nelson has been providing medical care for over 45 years as a family physician and a volunteer now at Catalasso Health Center in York. On top of that, he has led over 40 medical trips to impoverished countries, including India, Ethiopia, Guatemala, and Iraq, bringing life-saving treatment to thousands of people with few other options. Rather than once-and-done interventions, his teams develop deep relationships over many years and build capacity for improved public health in those communities. Dr. L. Nelson graduated magna cum laude from Allegheny College and went on to become president of York Hospital's medical staff. He currently teaches medical residents at WellSpan and is a clinical assistant professor of family and community medicine at Hershey Penn State College of Medicine. Dr. Nelson was essential to the development of our club's Sendafa Sanitation Project in Ethiopia. For almost 20 years, through Project Adopt a Village at Living Word Community Church, he has partnered with local health providers in Sendafa to improve health outcomes. As you know, our club raised over $23,000 and received matching funds from our district and the Rotary Foundation to build 2 latrines in Sendafa made with plastic bottles. We have also provided funding for food distribution and medical supplies for cataract surgeries that give sight to the blind. all thanks to your contributions to the Rotary Foundation. Today, Dr. Nelson will share his insights into the public health conditions that led to our Sendafa project and the importance of culturally competent solutions. And there's some exciting progress to report. We hope you gain a better picture of life in Sendafa and an appreciation for the value and the continued need for Rotary's work throughout our world. Please welcome our global project partner, Dr. Ed Nelson.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here and to share about our partnership that we've developed with your Rotary Club and Project Adopt a Village. It's been active over the last several years, culminating recently with this project of building bottle houses in Sendafa, Ethiopia. To give you a perspective of this, I want to that work? There? Mike, help. It's on. Oh, we're on. Okay. So the objective of this talk is to give you a bit of background about Project Adopt a Village, and also the involvement of Rotary, the Country Club or the Rotary Club of York, in this global health project in Sendafa, Ethiopia. And talk a bit about the importance of sanitation and why that's important, why you want to build a couple of latrines in a country on the other side of the world, and then give you an update about the Sendafa Health Sanitation Project that you have been so kindly and graciously contributing to. We have a technical difficulty here. Okay. So the common goals that shares with Project Adopt a Village and the Rotary Club of York is improving the health and welfare of people and to improve the quality of life of individuals in that community. This is the POV team, and I'll refer to the POV team several times in our talk here. The POV team is a group of 6 individuals who are employed by Living Word Community Church to be our feet on the ground year-round. We go there for a trip once a year, and sometimes a little bit more than that. But these people are actively involved in the projects that we have assembled over the years, of the 20 years that we've been there. The leadership is Dr. Freyu. You actually met Dr. Freyu here in October of this past year when you gave him Service Above Health Award here when he was here visiting. A remarkable guy who has just got a heart of compassion and just a heart to reach out to the marginalized and the poor. To the right side there is an attorney. His name is Dawid. Dawid was actually a 10-year-old interpreter back in 2006 when we first started doing work in Sendafa. And with impeccable English, he went on to become an attorney. He spent 2 years in the corporate world in Addis Ababa, and his heart was not there, but his heart was with Project Adopt a Village. So he's now part of the team that that are on the ground there doing the projects to be able to enhance the quality of life of the people there. So to give you a little bit of sense of demographics of Sendafa, because that's important in terms of why you're doing what you're doing. So the population back in 2006, when we started this project, was 5,600 people. It was chosen because it's a very, very poor area, poor village, with very limited access to medical care. We were told at that time that about 95% of the people in Sendafa had never seen a physician before in their life. Extreme lack of access to medical care. It's 25 miles from Addis Ababa, and that's important because our teams that go there stay in Addis, and we go day trips to and from Sendafa. Though the complexion of Sendafa changed significantly in 2011 because a major highway was built from Addis Ababa to the northeast part of Ethiopia, which really changed the complexion because all of a sudden this little remote village was not quite so remote from Addis Ababa, and Addis Ababa was expanding out, and actually the population growth in Sendafa was remarkable to the point where now there's about 50,000 people. So you can imagine the challenges of increasing the number of people over that time period. Still very limited resources. The average income per capita is less than $2 per day. So extremely impoverished village there. we were there actually, once we decided to do this project, we took a medical team there in August of 2006. And it was obvious when we were seeing the people there and treating the patients there that the diseases and infectious diseases and so on were clearly a factor because of the poor water and sanitation. And so we knew that if we wanted to improve the quality of life in the people in this village, we really had to impact the water and the sanitation in order to do that well. Over the next year, we partnered with Water Missions International, which is a nonprofit organization out of Charleston, South Carolina. And they came alongside us to be able to help us prove to the people in Sendafa, the leadership there, that there's a problem with the water. And so they came along with us the next year when we did our medical camp and did cultures of the water in the various places in town, including the restaurants there, including a butcher shop there, including a hotel there, and including the wells, hand-dug wells and borehole wells. Everything was contaminated with bacteria that can cause disease in people. That was eye-opening for them, beginning the educational process that we felt was so important to be able to transfer to the people that are there. So sanitation, by its definition, is the proper disposal of human waste, feces and urine, in order to prevent disease. That's the purpose of sanitation. We take it for granted because here in the United States, it's just normal, and we just don't really think about it. In fact, most of us, by the time we're 2.5, are potty trained, and we use these things called toilets. Well, most of the people in Ethiopia don't use toilets. When we went there in 2006, probably about 25% of the people had access to good sanitation and toilets. Now it's actually up to 50% in Sendafa. That's a big gain, but there's still 50% of people do not have access to toilets. So what do you do? If you don't have toilets, what do? You gotta go to the bathroom someplace. So you go, it's a thing called open defecation. So you go behind the building, you go out in the field, you go behind bushes or in trenches, whatever. The problem with that is it leads to contamination of the environment, contamination of the soil, contamination of the water, contamination of the crops, and therefore contaminate what you put in your mouth. So the idea of fecal oral contamination is so evident there, it's so problematic there, that it really needs to be addressed. So building latrines helps keep the feces and the contaminating products in ways that they can be disposed of properly. So what are the microorganisms? This is important because they're the common bacterial organisms that you think of, you hear about, things like Campylobacter, Shigella, Salmonella, things like that, E. coli. You hear about that with outbreaks in the country. It's on the evening news, it's in the newspapers. Well, this is happening commonplace in Ethiopia, and particularly in Sendafa. So that's just part of the microorganism scheme. Viruses. Viruses can cause hepatitis A, viral infection of the liver. It can also cause diarrhea illness as well. And the diarrhea that we commonly hear, the norovirus, you've heard of that. This is commonplace. In fact, studies in Ethiopia show that between 9 and 25% of all diarrhea there is from norovirus, a very, very infectious type of virus. And then there's parasites. Parasites are little critters that can inhabit the intestinal tract of people for the long term. And it can seep away a lot of the nutrition that goes into the body, which makes it very difficult. So what are the clinical effects of poor sanitation? Infections that I mentioned, and they often cause abdominal pain. They cause nausea, diarrhea, lack of appetite. And if you have lack of appetite with all this, then you have lack of good nutritional food coming in a country that already has significant food insecurities, tremendous food insecurities. So you add food insecurities plus the ability to not want to eat because you're feeling bad, that leads to malnutrition. Malnutrition is a bad problem, obviously. And these are especially problematic in children. If you look at the diarrhea situation in children, the biggest cause of children's death before the age of 5 is diarrhea. If you don't have a doctor to take your child to get antibiotics, to get fluids and so on, unfortunately they die. And it also happens, that type of kind of problem with that diarrhea illness happens in the older age group, but it's particularly problematic in children. Studies have been done looking at prevalence of parasites in children across the country. And between 27 and 84% of school-age children will be inhabited in their gut with some type of parasite. And that parasite can really sap away some of the good nutrition that the child is taking in. And that has an effect on the growth potential of the child, the physical growth of the child, as well as the intellectual growth of the child. The good news is hand washing can be very, very helpful. Hand washing has been shown to decrease the diarrhea by 47% and also decrease parasites by 42%. So big, we take it for granted. When our kids learn to potty train, we tell them, go to the sink and wash your hands. And so that becomes second nature to us. But it's not second nature to the people in Sendafa. 80% of the residents currently have access to water, either in their home or community faucets, which is great. Back when we started this, it was probably closer to about 25 to 30%. So there's progress being made there in this regard, in terms of infrastructure, getting water there. But still, most of the people have to get their jug of water, go to the community spigot, get it there, and then bring it back into their household in order to be able to provide water. So water has become a bit more difficult to hand washing. So what are the benefits of latrines? Well, it's a key thing for optimal sanitation, as we mentioned, disease prevention, improvement of the environment, not only with regard to preventing spread of bacteria and viruses and parasites into the soil, but also getting rid of the bottles, plastic bottles that are littering the streets. And it's also an opportunity to be able to educate the population about this. Additionally, it gives the individual privacy, safety, comfort, cleanliness, and respect. Things we take for granted with our toilets here. Why bottle house construction? People say, you know, aren't they pretty flimsy, these plastic little things? Well, I'm hoping to be able to show you why that's not the case and why this is appropriate for places like Sendafa. It's easy to build. There's great durability. It's been shown to be stronger than bricks, believe it or not. Environmentally friendly, taking the bottles from the gutters and whatever and using them in a constructive way. Few construction materials and lower costs. It's so economically it makes sense to do something this way. And also the ability to utilize and pay unskilled local labor is important as well. I want to take you through a whirlwind tour of how these bottle houses are constructed to kind of give you a better sense of the durability of them and what you're investing in here. Okay. So this is the site. It's located right behind the Sendafa Health Center. And it's actually about 20 feet from the door to the labor and delivery suite, which is relevant. Okay. The pit is dug. The pit is 10 feet deep by 25 feet by 30 feet. It's all dug by hand. The access to heavy machinery like backhoes and things like that is very limited in Ethiopia, and particularly in Sendafa. So that pit right there has been all dug by hand. That pit is then lined with stone, and the stone are kept together by cement and concrete. And then there's a floor put over top of that pit. That pit is where the septic will be gathered and periodically sucked out and taken to appropriate disposition area. The columns were built. The columns you can see are from rebar and concrete together. And between the columns is where the walls are made. And it's constructed in a very solid way. Bottles are collected, filled with sand or mud by local laborers, as you can see here. Then the 500 milliliter bottles are layered horizontally and kept together by cement. Roof is added. Inside the bottle walls, they're covered with cement. So you can see in the left side of the picture here, the 1 liter bottles are actually attached to a metal screen like chicken wire, and then it's covered with cement. So it's a durable thing. Actually works good from an insulation standpoint for noise as well as heat and cold extremes. On the right side, you can see where that wall is covered with cement. So it looks like a nice finished wall. After that, the inside walls are lined with tiles. Easier to clean than cement or wood. So from a cleanliness standpoint, it makes a lot of sense to have tiles. On the left is an Eastern toilet. On the right is a Western toilet. Most people in the world, many people in developing worlds have the Eastern toilet, which a lot of people don't understand how they could use that. They built 2 or 3 of the Western toilets here, not just because we come once a year and need to have that when we go as a medical team, but actually it's right next to the labor and delivery suite. So it's easier for women in labor to be able to use that one where they can sit down on it instead of squat. So it makes a lot of sense from their perspective and being able to enhance the care of the patients, labor and delivery, and other patients and visitors to the health center also will be able to utilize this current one, which has just been completed. The faucets are there. Again, the hand washing is key with a water tower, which is right adjacent to it. So there's always water that is there for hand washing and also to flush the Western toilets. So the finished product is this, and it's active up and working right now at the health center there. So it's actually working out quite well, I'm told. The whole process we've talked about here, education is really key. It's key because they don't learn this in their school. They don't learn about sanitation very often. They don't learn about the germ theory, meaning microorganisms transmit disease from one person to another. They don't really know that much about hand washing. So to learn these things from a public health standpoint is really, really key in order to try to decrease the amount of disease going throughout the population. And you can see on the right side is Dr. Freyu. He's teaching in the schools. They teach from the youngest age through the high school throughout the year. And this is Selem. She's a health officer as part of the POV team. She's teaching right here in the health center, but they also teach downtown in some of the government buildings downtown and throughout the community in the public forum. So what about sustainability? This is a question that's always asked. Well, we go over there, we invest $67,000 worth of money. What's the likelihood 2 years from now or 4 years from now, these things are going to be clean and usable? Well, there's a memorandum of understanding that is signed with the various stakeholders. So the Sendafa Health Center and the people in the next project building this downtown will have an agreement signed also that they will keep it clean and usable ongoing. Accountability to make sure that's the case. The POV team will be making sure that the health center is continuing to keep it clean and usable. And the official from the Health Administration Office in the community will be making sure that those individuals who are benefiting from the latrine in the poorest part of town will also be able to keep it clean. What are the challenges that we face? We as a partnership, one of the whole concept of ethnocentricity. It's a big word that basically means that we as Americans go overseas and we think we know what we want to do with things and we tell them what to do. The reality of it is we have to be sensitive to the needs and the mindset of the Ethiopians in order to make a difference. That's a big problem that we as Americans often have. So when I go over there every year, I have to put a different thinking cap on my brain in order to be able to do what I do there from a medical standpoint, community interaction standpoint, and so on, because a lot of what they think is maybe not exactly what I think is right, but there's sometimes more than one right way to do things. And I think that overcoming that is an important thing from a relational standpoint. There's a scarcity with getting basic materials and supplies. For a while, we couldn't even get cement in Sendafa. Can you imagine that? No cement. And so the supplies is difficult. Sometimes that means a delay in getting things moving along. There's a governmental bureaucracy, the local, regional, and federal. If we think we have difficulties with government bureaucracy here, amplify that several times and that's what you get in Ethiopia. It's a challenge to deal sometime with the government. Things that you would think make good sense for the welfare of the people somehow take great difficulty to accomplish. Inflation. For the last 10 to 12 years, the average inflation rate per year is 16 to 17%. We get bent out of shape here in the United States if it gets about 3%. So think about it. Think of how that affects the people in an impoverished community. It seemed to take forever, certainly from their end because the challenge is there. But quite honestly, there's some challenges at this end too for the bureaucracy and even getting through various committees and so on to get the funding and so on. So that's just the nature of the thing. So it's not just their end, but it's our end as well. So the next steps. Well, we've completed the H-stall latrine at the health center, and it's really reaching out to the people that use the health center on a regular basis. But now we're beginning another eight-stall latrine in the poorest area of town. Dr. Freyu told me about a week, 1 or 2 weeks ago that it's supposed to begin. That's about now. Hasn't begun. He's talking with the health administration and the town administration to find out the area in town which is going to be most likely to be there in 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 years in the poorest area, because there's so much change, as you can imagine, with the growth and it's taking place in Sendafa. They want to make sure it's in a place that is going to be usable long term. There's the Rotary Foundation Global Grant Application looking towards the next year. What's the next step that we can do together? And then there's the Rotary Club of York giving the $4,000 as you've done this year. 500 of that's going to go towards the teaching English as a second language in the schools and with school supplies and teaching supplies. And the other 3,500 is going to be going towards providing sight to the blind by doing a cataract surgery there. When we think about cataract surgery here in the U.S., we see, when we go to an eye doctor, we're not quite seeing quite as, it's a little bit blurry. The colors aren't quite as clear. And, at nighttime, there's halos around the oncoming lights. And so we go to the eye doctor, get our cataract taken care of, and it's easy. In Ethiopia, it's different. There's so few eye doctors to do cataract surgery. It's really a rarity. Project Adopt a Village has gained a positive reputation because over the last 20 years, we have provided about 500 people sight for the first time in years by providing them a new cataract. And if you look at this gentleman here, on the left side is him when he first came into camp. You can see the pupil in his right eye there is gray. You can actually see it from across the room. There's no way that light can get through that onto the retina to provide an image of being able to see. Totally blind for years. He has a 20-minute procedure. They take the patch off the next morning, and for the first time in years, he's able to see his grandkids. He's able to see his family, able to see the environment. It's miraculous. It's powerful. It's amazing. And to see the smiles in their face is just heartwarming. It really is. So you're going to be involved in that because you're going to be helping to provide the intraocular lenses to replace that cataract there with something that they can see through and be able to see. It's really remarkable. So thank you for your willingness and desire to be able to do that this year. Well, what about these kids? The other thing that's really important about this is that you're also making as much of a powerful impact on these kids as you were to that man that just had the cataract taken care of. These kids, by providing the sanitation, which is being enhanced there, decreases the risk for diarrhea, decreases the risk for parasites, and will improve their likelihood to be able to grow and thrive and not be limited by the limitations by the infections causing poor growth and poor mental growth as well as physical growth. So what are the conclusions from all this? Well, clearly what you're doing in partnership with Project Adopt a Village is really enhancing the health and welfare of many people. You're improving the quality of life through the whole age spectrum. You're decreasing the incidence of disease. You're improving the growth and learning potential of many young children. And you're developing long-standing relationships with our partners in Ethiopia, both in Sendafa, but also the Rotary Club in Addis Ababa. So I bring this as my final comment here, the Rotary Vision Statement. And this is very valuable to you, but it also meshes very, very well with Project Adopt a Village. And I'll read it. So together, we see a world where people unite and take action to create a lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. So together, Project Adopt a Village and the Rotary Club of York really embrace that and we're just so happy to be in partnership with you and hope it's an ongoing, a long-lasting partnership that continues. So thank you for the opportunity to share, and I'm available for any questions if you have it. I think I have a second minutes. There's a question back there.
Thank you. Can you help us quantify impact? Like how many cataract procedures does $3,500 make possible?
Okay.
And to what extent is there the possibility of gathering data longitudinally to see the cumulative effect of the latrines for the demographic in the area that's using those latrines? Can you prove efficacy?
Okay, the first question is how many, okay, the expectation is that when the cataract surgery is done, whether it's done when we are there in July or later in the fall, it depends upon whether this shipment of cataract surgical equipment makes it to Sendafa by the time that we're there in July. It's not looking favorable for now, but we're going to then do a cataract surgical camp later in the fall. So that's when it's going to probably happen. And the expectation is upwards to 50 cataracts will be removed and implanted at that time. And so the intraocular lenses will be provided for that purpose. I can't give you an exact number, but believe me, where the cataract intraocular lenses are a lot less expensive in Ethiopia and India, and then they are in the United States here. A big time difference. Okay, and so to have controlled studies to be able to look at the effectiveness of latrines, the 2 latrines and any subsequent ones that might be built, I think that is going to be close to impossible given the availability of people on the ground there to do that. So I think there's part of it is a trust thing, knowing that by limiting the amount of open defecation, that you're going to limit the amount of bacteria going into the ground, viruses and parasites and so on. So it would be wonderful to be able to come away with data that supports what we're doing. The reality of it is, it's probably not going to happen. But I think we know theoretically that it makes a lot of sense. You have less bad organisms going into the ground. It's going to be less bad organisms going into people's mouth, and therefore less disease and less complications of that.
Thank you, Dr. Nelson. That was pretty enlightening. With a continuation on what Hal's question was, are we looking at the water supply and changing it, or what is the state of the water supply? I'm hoping that if these are ground well supplying water, that the groundwater will improve. But does anybody, I think testing water would be pretty easy. I don't know where it's coming from. Can you just address that a little bit?
Sure. Back in 2006, when we first went there with a population of 5,600 people, we thought we could make a big difference. And that's why we got Water Missions International involved. We actually did end up drilling a well. We ended up putting in some pipelines to get closer access to water to the people. That was when it was 5,600 people. At that time, it was a project that we thought we could do and it would make a difference. Now we're dealing with 50,000 people. So to think that Project Adopt a Village, even with partnership with your wonderful organization, is going to make a big dent into the water supply in Sendafa, Ethiopia, is probably not realistic. Now, can we make an indent into the amount of disease there, the public health there? Well, public health is population health. Population health begins with the individual. So if in the areas that we're involved with here, and we're able to decrease the amount of infection, decrease the amount of parasites, and enhance the growth of the individuals that are in this area, it can make a difference. Now, how do we quantify that? It's hard to say. I don't know how we can do that. But I think that there's, theoretically, it makes a lot of sense to be able to come back here 2 years from now and with data to show you that you've made a big difference. I don't think that's really realistic to think. Does that kind of answer your question? Okay. Sorry.
Thank you again, and wishing you guys all the best in July. What best practices did you discover to build trust in the local community? Because I know that is not an easy thing. And not only that, crossing customs with all the supplies you're talking about, that was also, I'm sure, a very tricky
Yeah, I could give you a lot of
sure.
stories about crossing customs, yes. But the trust is longevity. We've been doing this for 20 years. And time again, the leaders of the community have said to Dr. Freyu, you guys stay here. Most of these NGOs or people come and they do one thing and they go. We've been there for 20 years. So with longevity, there's trust. And Freyu and the POV team have tremendous respect from the leadership in the community, both from the mayor's office, from the Department of the Ministry of Health there. And they've got significant regional reputation, positive, for what they're doing there. So we're supporting them, but they're the feet on the ground year round. And that's different. That's different than the average typical once and done mission trip to someplace. And I think that's the trust comes from that, the longevity and the recurrent ongoing efforts to enhance the quality of life of people there. Customs. Okay. If we decided that bribing was okay to do, we would have done that many years ago. We've not gone down that route. We don't think it's the right thing to do. And so Dr. Freyu spends oodles of times with the Ministry of Health and the various departments to get things in. Just to get, well, I won't go into too many stories here, but the reality of it is customs is very difficult getting in, getting out. And when we get there with 34 people, we usually send most of the team to the hotel because some of us stay back and try to get the equipment and supplies through. And that is a long process, hours of process. And by God's grace, it's happened well recently. There was a time when they actually confiscated some of our medical equipment, kept it in storage until we got back to the airport after we did our medical team work there, and then they gave it back to us and they paid us for storage. So think about it. It doesn't make any sense at all. You would think they would realize we're coming to help their people, but the governmental structure and whether it's the bribe situation and so on and so forth, it just doesn't allow for what we would think would make sense. It's heartbreaking at times. So customs is not a fun part of our process there, not at all. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was really interesting. I'm wondering how you, what's the process for teaching the people to accept the latrine system?
Yeah,
If they're,
good.
They've grown up
Sure.
generations.
Sure. Good question. I think that the process is I show you one picture of the POV team educating people. So every year, 1,600 patients are hearing it. They're hearing it, various aspects of public health education, including, importantly, sanitation, clean water, hand washing. Hand washing is a big difference. It makes a big difference. It really does. I mean, you cut back by 40 to 50% of the diseases just by hand washing, And we think of that as being just commonplace. Well, it's not so commonplace there because of their upbringing, their nature, and so on. So education is really important. So the POV team does their best to reach out to the community, and hopefully that's going to be spread from the people that they contact with to their families and so on. So yeah, it's a challenge. It really is, but an important challenge. As I've been able to sit in on some of your Rotary Club global grants committees and looking at what the Rotary Foundation has as their main objectives. And you talk about water sanitation, you talk about environment, you talk about working with people. The 4 of the 7 items of focus of the Rotary Foundation are what we're doing in Sendafa right now. And so I think, again, the joint effort is combining ideas that are working together well.
Thank you, Dr. Nelson, for not only sharing your incredible experiences, but also sharing your heart for service. Your stories from Sendafa and beyond remind us why Rotary's work matters on a global scale. Next month, 2 Rotarians from our club, Andy Siebold and Aaron Jacobs, will head to Sendafa along with 30 members of Living Word Community Church in Red Lion to participate in building the bathrooms and doing the good work that Dr. Nelson just shared with us. So all members of our club are invited to help pack supplies up for the trip. This is going to take place on July 6th at noon at Living Word Community Church, July 6th at noon. So this will be listed in Club Runner by next week, and you're able to sign up to attend that way. So another round of applause for our wonderful speaker, Dr. Nelson. As you all know, instead of giving the speakers a gift, we purchase a book and we ask them to sign the book plate and we donate it locally. This week's book will be donated to Jackson Elementary School in York City, along with a bookmark made by the students at Creative York. Our speaker next week will be York artist Justin Ruby. Justin is a self-taught artist known for his intricate mosaics made from deconstructed sneakers, car upholstery, and designer luggage. Ruby began his artistic journey in the basement of a row home in York, Pennsylvania, and has since exhibited internationally from New York to London. Collectors of Ruby's work include Mike Tyson, Jay Prince, and Mason Plumley. He will be speaking on York as an inspiration and a great community to cultivate creative practice. All right, so to stick with today's theme, I'll leave you with a proper etiquette tidbit. So 2 weeks ago, President-elect nominee Doug Berman told me it is not proper etiquette to leave the podium before the next speaker comes up. So if you know me, I'm all about that efficiency. So when the next person's coming up, I'm going the other way. I'm never waiting. So I told Doug he can do that when he's president. This meeting is now adjourned.